Here he is.
Come on, Jim.
Morning, Sonia. Morning, Sean.
Hello,
Morning.
sir. Morning.
Morning, Jim. Everybody, it's Jim Cowan. Lovely to see you, Jim. Really good to see you. Jim's been with us before, and I said I really wanted to, well, first of all, Freckles, thank you, because you said, when are you going to bring Jim back on again? Because some people have remembered your story and are still upset by it. Every time there's a new Race for Life poster put up, people get genuinely upset for you, Jim, and so they should. Let's give them a bit of background. Race for Life, they're asking us this year who we're going to race for. And honestly, Jim, when I walked past that poster, first thought that came to mind was, I'm going to, if I would race, which I won't, would be Jim's father, because that's who the race was named after in the first place. And so, Jim, let's give people some background. You created the Race for Life, right?
Yes, that's right, Sonia. A while ago now, it was, I first came up with the idea in 1993. My father had been diagnosed with prostate cancer, which unfortunately turned out to be terminal. And I decided that what I wanted to do was to create an event that was a lasting tribute to him. It's a bit of a jump from my father having prostate cancer to what was when originally launched an event that was exclusively for women's cancers. But that came as a result of researching what the market was at the time, looking for where the gaps were, and trying to understand what would raise the maximum amount of money. I was heavily involved in athletics at the time, and I realised that there was a huge opportunity to bring women into running. They were underrepresented in running at the time. And to do that, what I decided was we needed a more fun distance than what was regularly available back then, which was where the 5 kilometres came from. Make it women only to take away the very masculine feel to a lot of road running events back then. And to make it a fun run, not a race. Although Race for Life was part of the title, obviously, because of the significance of what the event was raising funds awareness for. That all fell into place, and then in summer of 1994, we launched the very first Race for Life in Battersea Park in London. You did
indeed. And that was with the Imperial Cancer Research Fund, right?
That's correct, yes. The story was that I initially took the idea to a different charity who declined the opportunity, saying that they thought the idea wouldn't work. It was a very different world back then. There weren't all these mass charity fun runs that you get nowadays. The Race for Life was really the forebear of all of those.
Game changer.
A game changer. Yeah, at the time, if you wanted to raise money for charity, you'd run the London Marathon or the Great North Run or your local 10K, and that was pretty much the market. Yes, so sorry, Sonia, I've forgotten what the question was.
No, not at all. No, not at all. So it started out with the Imperial Cancer Research Fund, and then how did that then transfer itself over to it having something to do with Cancer Research UK?
20 years ago, the Imperial Cancer Research Fund merged with another national cancer charity, rebranded as Cancer Research UK, and yeah, from there, Cancer Research UK has grown and grown and grown to become the mega corporation it is today.
So the race was named after your father because you really want him to have a legacy, and I completely understand that. You loved your father just as anybody loves their parents if they have a good relationship. And so I think that's what I continue to find so scandalous about this, Jim, is that the whole point about Race for Life is oftentimes about racing in memory of somebody who's been lost to cancer. And Cancer Research UK have treated you abysmally, Jim. What has happened? They've never taken any legal action against your claims are daily. Your social media account makes quite clear that you're not going to stop until there is an acknowledgement that Race for Life was named after your father. You don't want money. You're not interested in money. It's not about money. This is about remembering your father. How have Cancer Research UK responded to all of this?
In the most part, silence. When we do manage to elicit a response of any kind from them, it's things along the lines of, we had one last year of, they claimed to have had an inquiry into the origins of the Race for Life, and their inquiry discovered that the origins of the event were not clear. I did invite them to make their inquiry public so it could be scrutinised, in the public domain. I did offer to provide them with all the evidence that I have, documentary and other. They didn't reply. I've asked them to put in a public domain whatever evidence they have that contradicts mine, which I know doesn't exist. And again, nothing. So, you know, I suppose if you can't tell the truth, shut up seems to be their policy.
Sean, what is your thought about this happening, that a man I mean, and the thing is, Jim has a background. This was not his first charity event. He is somebody who creates these things and is getting involved in a next charity event coming up shortly, which we'll talk about. But Sean, what's your, as somebody who's hearing this for the first time, what's your sort of feeling that a cancer charity would completely abandon who Race for Life was named after? I mean, they should have something, shouldn't they?
Yes, it's terrible. Sorry to hear about this, mate. I feel like it's when these corporations become so large that I think the actual idea that you created became such a huge injection of cash for them that sadly that's what kind of takes over. And this is what I can't stand. And that's why I don't think it's capitalism, it's corporatism still.
Right.
And the idea of this, the actual real reason why we're doing it is lost as well.
Yeah,
which is more devastating. And I think a lot of people that are running it would much rather run it knowing that it was set up by someone that's been through the same as them. You know, they're going to connect to it more. Like, it's going to have a much more base in love and truth and.
Absolutely, that's the integrity.
Yes,
that's the heart.
Yes,
like I've done Race for Life. I did Race for Life for both my fathers. My father, both my my stepfather and my father both died with cancer, and from cancer rather. And I did a Race for Life for them. This was way before I fell upon Jim. I wouldn't dream of doing it now, and I wouldn't dream of doing it now, not least because I made the business of cancer, which is a whole other story, and why I wouldn't just trust Cancer Research UK to cross the road accurately, much less actually solve cancer issues. But what they've done to Jim is truly abysmal, because as you say, they've, you know, surely the people racing for life would love to know this is the heritage of it. This is the important stuff. I mean, Jim, that must hurt you whenever you see those posters go up each year.
Yeah, and you can't escape it either. You know, you turn on the television, there's an advertisement, you walk down the high street, there's a shop, there's a bus stop, there's a bus driving past you, you go online and you're still inundated with their adverts. You can't escape it. So you kind of develop a hard shell. Otherwise you'd be an emotional wreck.
Wow, that's horrible, mate.
Yeah, and how does your family react to all of that as well, Jim? Because they know what this is all about.
Yeah, fortunately, it doesn't really impact on them. I only have close family. I only have two brothers left. One is in California, the other's in Hong Kong, so they don't get the daily presentation of it everywhere they go. You know, they do check in and say, how's it going? You know, what's any progress? And the standard response is no, not yet. We keep fighting.
And Cancer Research UK, they want to keep this sort of position of, well, we're not really sure where it originated from. That's their sort of strange position, isn't it?
Yeah, my gut feeling on that, Sonia, is that that's a position of their own creation as well, which might sound obvious, but you know, the history, as far as I've been able to unravel it, is that the head of the events at Imperial Cancer Research Fund, when I took them the event, a lady named Jill McRae, apparently stole the event. It was her idea to steal it. It was her that in the
allegedly.
Well, if she wants to sue me, she can crack on.
It won't be you she'll come after. So allegedly.
Allegedly, Sonia. It was her that phoned me up in the winter of '94 and said, thank you very much for the idea, see you later, effectively.
You've got this documentation. The whole reason I followed your story in the first place is you've got this all documented. I made a video with you. Even Jeremy Vine, who we hate round here these days, but even he was forced to say, this is a very concerning story, and tweet about it and how he trusted me as a reporter, right?
Yeah.
So people have acknowledged this.
Wow.
Yeah. I have a letter signed by Jill McRae crediting me with coming up with the idea. And then she wandered off and started claiming the idea as her own. Wow. I think then what happened somewhere along the lines is that Cancer Research UK realised that it wasn't her idea, so they came up with all sorts of others. I've got press cuttings where they've claimed it's from America, where it was somebody else's idea, it came internally from Cancer Research. So many different claims. And one of the things I constantly remind people is that the truth doesn't need to vary, whereas a lie keeps reinventing itself.
Absolutely.
Oh,
Absolutely.
yeah, 100%. And we're
Yes.
seeing that a lot this year, aren't we?
Yeah, exactly. And so the reality is Jim has a paper trail. He has the evidence. They're not prepared to look at it. I've contacted Cancer Research UK before. They're not interested. They don't want to know about it. They're very, this is their nest egg. You have to understand how much money this creates for. This generates billions. This is this. When I say a game changer, that is not a joke. That you can't underestimate how much Cancer Research UK Race for Life has changed the charity. Wow. It has, hasn't it, though, Jim? It's huge. It's seismic.
Yeah, I mean, in '94 when I launched it, there was, as I say, the charity fun run scene as we now know it just didn't exist.
Yeah.
The success of the Race for Life has been copied by pretty much every major charity in the country, and it started with my father's cancer diagnosis.
Yeah, it's terrible. I'm really.
What do you think? Sorry. What do you think the main reason is then? Do you think it is, Jim? Do you think it is the fact that it's their nest egg, or do you think that it got so far now that they figured out that she robbed it and they can't say anything, or allegedly took it? Like, what's their main agenda? Do you think?
Oh, Sean, I wish I could get inside their heads and figure it out.
Yeah.
I think the best response I can give to that is that they just lack integrity. They lack morals. There's no ethics in the place. If they have figured out that their trail was incorrect, then any organisation, be it charity or corporate, would turn around and say, "Sorry, we got it wrong."
Yeah. That's integrity.
Yeah,
we can all make mistakes, especially in a situation like that. But Cancer Research UK, I mean, as I say, I covered them for a film anyway, but they have the absolute access to the top legal people. They could get around this. They could say, listen, there was confusion about this for a very long time, but yes, this is who it's about. We want to honor that. Of course, there's, this is a charity. There's so much they could do to rectify this, Jim, and they just choose not to. And you have to wonder why.
Yeah, it's a complete lack of, it is a lack of integrity. It would cost nothing for them to pick up the phone and say, okay, Jim, let's see the evidence. Let's get together. Let's talk about this.
Yeah.
But they're not interested. And there's a hypocrisy there as well, in that you get the previous chief executive, Harpal Kumar, was made a knight for his services to charity. So he's happy to take recognition for his own work, but not to recognise the work of others. When Michelle Mitchell took over as the chief executive, I thought, oh, new broom, I'll write. I wrote a whole load of letters to her saying, this is an opportunity to examine this, to look at this again. But no, she continued with the same corporate message of silence, of ignoring me. And it's worth pointing out that she's received an OBE for her services.
I tagged her in the tweet this morning, by the way. No. I thought, no, she needs to be tagged in the tweet. Because again, like you say, these people, they want to be acknowledged for their services. You don't even want to be acknowledged. You want your dad to be acknowledged. Yeah. That's the thing. You just want your dad to be acknowledged. Anybody would. So, Jim, on a brighter note, what are you doing on the 27th of September?
Now I'm doing something called the fan dance, which has nothing to do with fans and nothing to do with dancing. It's a test in South Wales, a sort of a hike, for want of a better description. It's famous in armed forces circles because it's if you want to go into the SAS, it's the very first selection test that you do. It's 15 miles and it gets its name because it goes over the top of Penny Fan, which is Wales' third highest peak, goes over the top of that twice. Wow. And you do this while carrying 45 pounds on your back. And the idea is to do it in under 4 hours, 10 minutes to go on to the next selection test for the SAS. I turned 60 back in May and I thought, being a stubborn old git, I thought, okay, let's prove a 60-year-old can do it and raise some money for charity at the same time. So I'm currently training for that. And on the 27th of September, I'll either succeed or make a fool of myself.
And what charities you'll succeed. You will succeed. I mean, let's not underestimate this. Sean, you might not be aware, but he's actually very athletic. He has an athletic background.
Right, okay.
Right, so he'll succeed on this 100%. And the charities, Jim?
Scotty's Little Soldiers, which is a fantastic charity that looks after bereaved armed forces children. So if a child loses a parent in the service of the country, Scotty's will look after those children through their education, any support they need through whatever the family needs to make sure those children get the best upbringing possible. And also Babington Rescue, which is a local dog rescue centre to where I live.
Nice.
My own dog passed away in September last year,
Oh,
and Babington have a kennel attached, and whenever I went away, they used to look after him to the point where he loved going there. So I think the best thank you I can give them is to raise some money for them.
Yeah.
See, he's just a thoroughly good guy, Sean. He doesn't need to be just done over by Cancer Research UK. Everybody, please, if you can, tweet, contact Cancer Research UK and demand to know why this man's father has not been honoured as the legacy and the reason why Race for Life started in the first place. Jim, thank you so much for joining us.
What's your dad's name, Jim?
Yes, go on.
John Cowan.
John, good man, John Cowan.
In memory of John Cowan, even if Cancer Research UK won't honour him, we at Rise will. Jim, take good care of yourself. Hope to see you
guys.
soon.
Have a great day.
Take care. Have a great week.
Bye.